earlier you made a joke about, like the baby mama,
Yeah.
child support.
Yeah.
Do you take those cases as well?
No.
I'm about to say, I have some recommendations. I might have some clients.
No, I have several great friends that can help in those situations. But yeah, I went to family court, and I think I did one divorce. Yeah. I'm like, this is it for me. This is not my area of expertise. You people arguing about dishes. I'm like,
Dishes?
Dishes.
Wow.
Like Target dishes, though, not like family heirloom dishes.
Yeah.
like
that's where that pettiness comes in.
Right.
Yeah. What a world. Thank you for tuning in. Another episode of the Cosign Conversations podcast. I am your host, KG. Here we interview entrepreneurs, creatives, executives, professionals, and artists that we co-sign and introduce to our community. Today we have an amazing guest. We have Mr. Ezekiel Tyson of the Tyson Law Firm. How you doing today?
Excellent. Thanks for having me over.
Of course. Greatly appreciate you taking the time out of it. I want to start with a quick story. So when I was younger, I have an older sister. Mm-hmm. So my older sister used to always watch like the rom-com movies. So one of her movies was Clueless, right?
Okay. Yeah.
In Clueless, Alicia Silverstone's father was an attorney.
Right.
And he was rich. He made a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So being forced to having to watch that, I'm like, well, at least let me find something that I could relate to. I'm like, okay, well, I want to be him. Right? I want to be him. And then I got older. I did amazing in school, but it was like the 8 years plus of college.
Got it.
That I was like, you know what? Let me try something else.
Pass.
Let me try something else.
Understood.
So for you, growing up, did you always want to be an attorney?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
What happened?
Furthest thing from my mind.
Really?
Yeah, for real. I really had no clue what I wanted to do, and career-wise.
Right.
And I actually went to a program at Xavier University the summer before my senior year of high school.
Okay.
And it's like a program that introduces you to college. You stay on the campus and you take these classes and whatnot.
Right.
And one of the teachers there, or professors, I should say, had a law degree. And one day she was just talking to us and telling us, hey, it's a good degree to have. You can do a lot of different things with it. You can go into business. You can practice law. You can go into government, and you're not limited. And I was like, hey, that sounds perfect. I have no idea what I want to do after I graduate next year.
Right.
So I can go to college, get any degree, and then hang out for 4 years there. Then I could scoot over to law school, go get that degree. And then finally, by that time, I should figure out what I want to do with my life. So that was my game plan going in. So that didn't happen until like 17-ish that I came up with this plan.
And so while you had started attending college and you were taking these courses, at any point were you like, what did I sign myself up for?
No, because, I grew up, watching A Different World and stuff like that. Yeah. So I thought everybody went to college. So that was, in my mind, was a standard. Like, okay, after high school, I'm going to go to somebody's college, right? That was always in my mind. So then the law part, once I got into the actual law school part of it, I think at that point I had been so set on the path. I mean, even though it was hard, it wasn't like, oh, no, I got to get out of this hard. It was more like a, geez Louise, this is hard. Like, everybody here is smart, type situation. But hey, at that point I was like committed to getting through it. Wasn't committed to practicing law, but I was committed to getting a degree.
Gotcha.
Actually.
Do you think anybody could be an attorney? And I say that because right now we're in this entrepreneurial spirit, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a trend that everybody can be an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurship may not be for everyone. Right?
True.
Do you think practicing law or even going to law school is accessible for anybody?
Well, accessible, yes.
Okay.
The question is, do you want to do it?
Right.
It's a lot of, you got to get that undergrad degree first, then you got at least 2.5 minimum and normally 3 years of law school, right? So it's a lot of commitment, it's a lot of work, it's a ridiculous amount of reading and analyzing and kind of shifting the way that you think and learning new principles. Okay. So it's a lot that comes with it.
Right.
So is it accessible? Yeah. But does everyone need to subject themselves to it or want to go that route? No, not at all. There's a lot of other things to do, and you can still, find what makes you happy or find what your right point is the place to be, you know?
Right. I think another thing that, turns individuals off going to law school is those student loans.
Yeah.
You don't have to say your amount, but like from average, from maybe your, your colleagues, what was like an average amount that people have paid or are in debt when it comes to student loans?
Well, that's a good question because it ranges, right? Because everybody's situation is a little different. Right. One thing I didn't realize till I got to law school was a lot of my classmates, they came from lawyer families.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know exactly, but they might not have loans at all. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And then I also had a group of friends in law school who were veterans. So they had the GI Bill that helped out tremendously, and they were getting some money in addition to that. Not saying that they didn't take out any loans because it's not like you'd be like, hey man, so what's going on with your finances today?
Exactly.
But through just casual conversation, you learn some different things about different people's situations, right? I went to the University of Houston, and one thing I always tell people is that if you're interested in law school, go to the best school you can or that you like, but also keep in mind the costs, okay? So try to balance those two things out. U of H was a great school, is a great school, and it was also a state school. So that made a tremendous difference where I was paying maybe $20,000 a year. A private law school, it might have been $40,000 a year. So that's a big difference there as far as how much you're ultimately going to be coming out saddled with that, right? And I also had a good buddy in undergrad who got into U of H as well, and he went to the part-time program. He said, hey, my plan is, I'm just going to work full-time. I'm going to pay as I go. And I don't, I just don't want to, I could do it faster. I could do, the full-time program, but I just don't want the debt. And I thought that was great. It wasn't for me, but I thought it was great for him.
He's like, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, I had to get out of there as soon as possible.
Man, so what law did you decide to practice? I know you do personal injury, criminal defense as well. Yes. So when did you identify what type of law you wanted to practice?
That's a great question. I was doing more transactional stuff coming out of school, and I shot my resume out to several different entities looking for a new opportunity. And oddly enough, the city of Houston called me in for an interview for their prosecutor office. Had no inkling or desire to ever be in court, to ever talk to people, to be in front of a jury or anything like that. I was like, that was the worst thing on earth that I could think of, right? But I took the interview because why not? I'm young. I mean, I'm barely out of school. Why not, listen to everybody's opportunity? And the two gentlemen that interviewed me and that ultimately hired me were just so excited about what they did. They were so passionate. I was just like, if I don't come over here and at least see if this is halfway true, then I'm doing myself a disservice, you know? Sure. And I mean, it was a pay cut, and it was crazy. It was a pay cut, and it was doing something I never imagined myself doing. But again, they were just so excited. We're like, you get to go to court every day. Every day is different. You don't know what's going to be on your docket when you walk in. You're going to meet hundreds of new people each day and just talk to them and figure out their situation and negotiate and all this good stuff. And they were absolutely right. Everything they told me was true, you know. So I really enjoyed that. And then when I moved up here to Dallas and opened up my office, I knew that was going to be a big part of what I wanted to do moving forward. I wanted to stay in litigation. I wanted to stay in criminal defense specifically. And over time, as different cases came into me from other areas of law, I kind of deselected things that I wasn't interested in. And that way I shaped my practice saying, hey, you know, I love your kids, but I'm not going to court to fight for you. So I met your baby mama, she crazy. So call this guy, you know. And then someone would come in with something like, you know, an oil and gas issue. I'm like, that's great. Studied in school. I remember that section on the bar, but it bored me to death. I called Johnny, you know. So that's kind of how the process worked, and kind of was able to, you know, get rid of things that I wasn't interested in to focus on things I was more passionate about.
Got you. When you decided to open up your own practice, was that something that you realized early on into law school you wanted to do, or is it something like you wanted to be essentially your own boss?
You know what? Neither. I didn't plan to open up going to law school or in law school. And as I was going to transition from Houston to Dallas, okay, I was looking for various jobs in Dallas. And at that point, I had a little bit of the transactional experience. Okay. When I say transactional, I mean like drafting contracts, forming corporations, things like that. More paper law is what I would say. And then at that point, I had also had the criminal experience and the litigation experience of being in courtroom and making arguments to judges and juries and things like that, which I liked. So I wanted a job that melded both of those two aspects of the law. Right. Okay. I couldn't find it. Okay. I couldn't find it, and I had some friends up here from law school that had already opened practices up, and they were like, hey, you know, you can just come join, not join, but office in our building. Okay. We're in this great building. The rent's cheap. You know, let's just see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? And I was like, yeah, you know, good point. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to Dallas regardless. Right. So if I get up there and I'm like, this isn't for me, I can always go look for a job. Right. But but like I said, I couldn't find the job that I wanted, so I decided to make it basically.
So there's not really, I'm sure there's competition, but for you to say like some of your friends and colleagues told you to come join them in their offices, is it more so like a camaraderie when it comes to attorneys, or are y'all kind of like fighting for cases and clients?
You know, in Dallas, I found to be Dallas is a very welcoming, open legal market, in my opinion. At that time, we had 2 law schools. Now we have 3. But I still think the spirit of camaraderie is there, and it's not so much a hide the ball type situation where people don't want to share information with you, right? So, yeah, I went to the courthouse and just was walking around and handling my little cases, and I just would meet people, and they'd say, hey, well, come try this case with me and let me show you something. And say, you know, they wouldn't give me the business or they wouldn't pay me, right?
Just for experience.
Yeah, but the openness was always there. So that's something I really appreciated. And that's a little bit different from like my friends or my law school classmates. We're a little more, how would I say it? Open with each other about, you know, what's working for us, or asking each other questions about more specifically about business and about things of that nature, or legal matters in that case. Just depends on what the situation is. But yeah, I think overall, I think Dallas is a very open market.
Gotcha. Did you seek out mentorship before opening your own practice?
I didn't. Should have. Should have.
Have you ever had a mentor?
Oh yeah, I had several. Had several. Yeah, several great ones.
How have they helped you like through your career?
Say that again?
How has your mentors helped, you know?
Tremendously. Like I said, from trying cases with them to just observing the way they interacted with clients and families, judges. I mean, they've taught me everything. They taught me how to practice law. You know, it's like you go to law school and you learn these theories and you learn how to analyze the law. Right. But you have to actually get out there and literally practice to learn how to become a lawyer, right? And a big part of that, in my opinion, is mentorship, whether it's official or not. I mean, you don't typically sit down, or at least I didn't, say, hey, you're going to be my mentor or whatever. Right, but, you know, it just kind of organically happens. And that happened to me several times in Dallas County specifically. So, yeah, tremendous.
Man, as a lawyer, what do you think makes a great lawyer, right? There's only been 2 times in my life that I needed counsel.
Legal counsel. Fair enough.
And and it was very difficult trying to find, at that time I was super young, trying to find someone to represent me, or someone that I felt like would understand, you know, my story and not just see me as a piece of paper, what's on that paper, because what's on that paper is not the whole truth.
Exactly.
Right? Definitely. You know, so it was very difficult. And I still think I didn't choose correctly, but, you know, that was over 10 years ago, so we're here now. So as an attorney, I want to know from your expertise, you know, what do you think makes a great attorney?
That's a good question. I think first and foremost, it's a commitment to excellent customer service. Okay. I think that goes above and beyond anything else you can do. Everyone who's a lawyer went to law school, passed the bar. They have the license, right? So you hope that there's a certain level. There's a certain level of competency there, right? Now they could still be, mess some stuff up, but at least the baseline you're gonna start kind of on an equal field, right? Yeah. But it's just like you said. Some people approach clients more as clients, like literally, like that's just my client.
Right.
This is how I pay my bills. Don't bother me with any personal issues. Just leave me alone. This is what I need you to do. I need you to pay this bill on this day, and if it doesn't happen, peace out, right? And I think that a great lawyer, it's hard, but one thing great lawyers do, I think, is take the time to actually get to know their clients well, listen to their full story, and then kind of figure out from there, okay, how can I best approach this? How can I best help that person? And that's often not a one-time meeting. That may take months of meeting and development to kind of get to the point of, okay, I got it, or I know the way to approach this to get us the best result,
Nah, that definitely makes sense. And I think that's what also, like, of course, like you said, separates, the greats from the ones who are typically just doing it for the paycheck, or, to get by.
Yeah.
Earlier you made a joke about, like the baby mama, child support.
Yeah.
Do you take those cases as well?
No.
I'm about to say, I have some recommendations. I might have some clients.
No, I have several great friends that can help in those situations. But I went to family court, and I think I did one divorce. So I'm like, this is it for me. This is not my area of expertise. People arguing about dishes. I'm like, dishes.
Wow.
Like Target dishes, though, not like family heirloom dishes.
Yeah.
like
that's what that pettiness comes in.
Right. Yeah.
Man.
So no.
And in Texas law, I mean, today is International Women's Day, so I have to big up the women. But in Texas law, or in Texas, I feel like it's already like in favor of women when it comes to family court, family law. So
a lot of people feel like that way.
Yeah, you really have to show like that she's a completely unfit parent.
Right.
For a father to get full custody.
To have a good child, yeah.
Yeah, but, shout out to Texas.
That's a fun segue.
Or whatever they say.
For real.
But has there been a case that's kind of like changed your outlook on being an attorney? What I mean by that is, you go through certain instances. Like for me as an entrepreneur, I remember the first time I had a major client, like a corporate client, and how I learned so much from that process. And they didn't like look down on me as an entrepreneur because I didn't know everything that they were used to, but they helped me along the way, and they're still one of my clients. So I will always, respect that type of client. So I learned a lot from there. Has been like a case that you have to where like, man, it actually changed your viewpoint or your thoughts on being an attorney in a positive or negative outlook?
Oh man, there have been several. The great thing about the law is you're constantly getting new cases.
Right.
Like I have these main two practice areas of personal injury and criminal defense.
Right.
But every case is different. Every case is unique. It has its own set of factors, its own different client, and people opposing counsel on the other side.
Right.
But in particular, I can tell you, man, there is probably my first murder case in Dallas County was very impactful on me, just because it was very serious,
right.
And I appreciated the trust my client put in my hands of coming to me and putting that in my hands to fight the case for him, and it was just another level. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I had tried other felony cases, I believe, at that point. But it wasn't. I mean, murder is as up there as you can get, right? So yeah, that was tremendous, and it made me appreciate the service and how delivering good customer service can make a difference to someone in their family, especially because this guy had a relatively new young wife, and it's a tremendous situation to be in.
Nah, man, it's definitely serious. I had I had a friend back in Killeen who had a case like that, and he had a great attorney, like I said earlier, who actually looked further into who he was, and didn't just go off the piece of paper. And he ended up getting off with self-defense. So
perfect.
That was a tough time. So I understand how serious those cases are, and how they could change everybody's life involved.
Definitely.
Does it ever wear on you personally?
Not very rarely.
Okay.
Very rarely. I think I do a good job of balancing it out as far as setting boundaries between my personal life and my professional life.
Right.
I care tremendously for my clients, but I understand that in my care, I work through my care. Okay. Meaning that I don't just sit there and worry about and stress about their case.
Gotcha.
I do what I got to do to help their situation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So whereas a family member may just be like, oh man, and just take that burden upon themselves, or the actual client, I have the actual tools to do something about it.
Gotcha.
So I focus in and go hard on getting that person's issue resolved or defending that person, and then once I clock out, I clock out.
Right.
And I don't call me unless it's an emergency. Right. Now, if it's an emergency, though, I'll get back to you.
Right.
But if you call me to say, hey, just checking on how everything's going, it's Saturday morning. Yeah. Probably not gonna get a call back on that.
Boundaries are important.
Right.
Boundaries are definitely important.
Definitely.
Just to switch it up a little lighthearted, one thing I looked at when it comes to attorneys, lawyers, is y'all are great marketers.
We try.
Y'all are great marketers. So for you, what have you done, or what do you feel like you've done well outside the box to definitely get the Tyson Law Firm out there and to really be in the public side?
Well, man, it's hard, because that's not something they teach you in law school.
Right.
And they just teach you the law basically. Right. So if you're gonna come out here and open up your own shop, you got to figure all this stuff out, right? Mm-hmm. And it's trial and error, man. I mean, a trial and error. I mean, I remember when I first came out. And I got with this company, I can't even think of the name of them now, to make me this website and all this stuff, right? And it was this monthly charge, and it was just like...
For a website?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
But it was like, I don't want to say it was optimized, because that was before that was even a term, right? Mm-hmm. But it was something about their hosting and stuff where it was supposed to be better than just having a static, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I'm talking 04 language, as best as I can remember.
Right.
Anyway, dang, they killed me, man, as far as profits. So I was like, golly, I'm paying these people every month, and I'm not seeing a return on it, So it's a lot of trial and error, right? But, as they say, scared money don't make money. Right. So sometimes you just have to throw it out there and hope for the best, right? So I've had the opportunity over the last, I would say sometime last year, I've been doing some marketing with Lamb V and with the Tuesday night fights. Okay. So that's been, I've really enjoyed that relationship and just growing that and getting to know their team.
For sure.
As well as attending the events. I was attending the events already.
Gotcha.
But I just started getting involved last year. And I've done some different sponsorships for various fashion shows. Okay. Really, really enjoy that as well, Love models. So,
it's a no-brainer.
Shout out to models.
Shout out to models.
Shout out to models.
I know a few.
I'm just saying.
Right. Yeah.
So it's if you're going to market, you're going to spend your money and your time. And I like fashion shows. I like fashion, like good-looking clothes and models. For sure. So it kind of goes hand in hand. It dovetails perfectly. So I think that's a good avenue for me as well.
Right. And what's this, 2024, have you done radio marketing?
I've never done radio, no.
Do you feel like it's beneficial? No knock to anybody that we know on radio, but do you feel like it's beneficial? Do you feel like it may be outdated in 2024?
It's got to be beneficial because people are doing it still, and from what I hear, they pay good money to do it. So it's got to be beneficial, Just like to a certain point, TV is still beneficial. But I guess it's all a question of case acquisition costs. So you're looking at your total amount that you're putting in, whether it's a radio campaign, TV campaign, internet, whatever you're doing, and saying, okay, based on this, how many cases can I track from that whatever I put my money into,
Right.
and was this worthwhile?
Gotcha.
If you're spending, I don't know, X amount of dollars and you get like X amount of cases, but it's like $2,500 a case. When you do the math, it's like, was that really worth it? Know. Now, if it's $1 million case, then hell yeah, it was. But if it's your average run of the mill, right? I'll do that all day. $2,500 for $1 million, sure.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about the average normal car accident, that's not $1 million. So was it worth it?
So I've actually been in one car accident. Wasn't my fault.
I believe you, despite what they said.
Yeah, despite what they say, it was actually a hit and run. Like they hit,
wow.
they hit
That
me and
sucks.
they took off.
Yeah,
Didn't have insurance, so it was an uninsured motorist. So I think they went after, I guess my insurance. I don't know how it worked.
fair.
I was young. I was just like, okay, how do I get paid?
Give me some money. I need a
How do I
car.
get paid? And I'm not sure if it works. I guess if this is like a general case, how it works, but they were basically saying it was 33% or whatever.
What? I mean, were they saying you were 30% at fault, or they only?
No, they were
30%?
saying it was my fault, so I got hit and run. But they were saying like if I go through therapy, etc., they're going to fight for the case.
Okay.
And that they'll just take.
Oh, okay, a third, a contingency fee.
Yeah,
a contingency fee.
Contingency
agreement.
fee.
Okay,
So they'll
gotcha.
take.
Yes,
I want to say it was a.
Yeah, sounds about right. A
wanna
third.
say
That's
it was
standard.
Yeah. It was a third.
Yeah. So you're a lawyer. You went to a lawyer, and the lawyer said, "Hey, I'll represent you. I won't charge you anything up front,
Right.
but after you finish your therapy and everything, we'll do a demand, and then whenever we get the money, I'll take a third of that money."
Right, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's standard practice.
Okay, so they
Ain't
took a
get you.
third. I got a third.
Yeah.
I don't know where that third went.
The other
though.
third probably went to the providers.
Okay.
Because if you went to physical therapy
Exactly.
or whatever, you got to pay those people. So.
Gotcha. I don't know if they should have got a third. I literally went 6 times and just laid there.
Oh, fair enough.
And they got a third of my money.
Fair enough, yeah. That's why you got to look at your breakdown.
Yeah,
sheet
like,
before you
hold on,
sign
I
off. I get it. You were young, though.
I got.
But in the future,
the
come to the
future.
Tyson Law Firm. We'll explain it all before you sign.
We will negotiate that third for them, though.
No doubt.
I'll just pay them hourly.
Something.
Something.
Hey, there's always a little wiggle room there.
Man, I'm gonna try to get. Okay, I'm gonna do an example. So I think it was 15,000.
Okay.
No, it had to been more than that. It was more than that because I ended up getting a check for like 8,000.
Okay.
So when they tell you like we'll represent you and we'll only take a third,
Sure.
it's perfect because I'm not thinking about the other third. I'm thinking I'm getting 2/3.
Yes.
So I got the 8,000. I'm like, okay, this is lit. But you know how our culture is. You're cool with that until you figure out how much everybody else get.
I've had that experience before, once or twice.
You're like, hold on, okay, I got 8,000.
Yeah.
I know my attorney got that. So where the other 8,000 going? They're like, oh, that went to. I don't even know what they told me. I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that one though.
Right.
We can split that.
Right.
Yeah,
That's why you always need paperwork.
need
Everything
paperwork.
you get from your lawyer dealing with money should be in writing.
For sure.
And you gotta watch who you deal with as well.
Definitely.
Because even though those are the rules and how it should be,
Right.
hey, some people fly by the seat of their pants. And
Definitely.
strange things happen when the money comes in.
Man, money makes people act strange too.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Money makes people act strange. Do you only practice, I guess, in DFW?
No. We have a satellite in Waco.
Okay.
We also take cases, personal injury cases. We take all over the nation.
Okay.
Criminal cases, particularly federal cases, I take throughout the state of Texas.
Gotcha. Okay, so for example, if we have clients listening in Killeen, 'cause that's where my mom is,
Oh,
and
right.
she has a personal injury accident.
Yeah.
She can call Tyson Law
Definitely
Firm.
got them covered.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Especially in 2024, man. Things are just so, cloud-based now.
Right.
You can Zoom with people, you can email, you can text. There's a billion ways to keep people updated on their cases and to check in with them,
Right.
and to still do the work without having to actually go to that city to check in with them.
Gotcha. So how often are you actually in court then? Only for like the litigation processes? Or?
Yeah, I would say on average I'm in court maybe once or twice a week.
Okay.
A lot less than I used to be. I used to be there literally like every day. But as my personal injury practice has expanded,
Right.
I've done less state criminal work personally.
Okay.
My firm still does, but I personally am not there on a daily basis as like I used to be.
Gotcha.
I've got a good team and some good attorneys on staff who help out with that.
Let's talk about that. What was the process of growing that team? Because, I mean, even though you're an attorney, it applies to entrepreneurs as well. So for those listening, like, first, what was your first hire, and then how did you grow from there?
Man, that is, well, that's a question. I don't even know if I can think of my first hire. Let me think, man. My first hire may have been an intern, not a real hire, right? And at that point, I believe I was sharing office space with another attorney, and we both kind of went in on this one assistant that would help both of us out. You know?
So y'all both chipped in and paid the assistant?
Exactly. And it's, again, they don't teach you in law school how to grow a practice, how to grow a team or anything like that.
Sure.
Lots of trial and error, tremendous trial and error, you know, because as one of my associates says, people be peopling. So,
they do.
You know,
people do be peopling.
You just never know. You never know. But I've been very blessed in that aspect. I really have a really good, solid team, and a lot of trial and error, and you just got to kind of find people that fit,
right,
and people that want to work, which is really odd to me.
Right,
I thought that's what they signed up for, but some people like, I was just joking. I was just joking.
I don't want to do that.
I really don't want to do that. I do want to check.
Yeah,
like, wait, what?
I just don't want to do that.
I don't understand. What are you saying?
Yeah, it's tough times we're living right now.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, they do say, I don't know who came up with this quote, but they do say hire slow and fire fast.
Yep. I've heard that.
Have you applied that?
I've tried.
Okay.
I tried something, and you know, and that's a mistake I made as well, is not adhering to that, right?
Okay.
Where I've hired fast just because I needed a body. In my mind, I need a body. I need these phones answered. I need these letters sent out, blah, 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 right? Till, you know, you hire that quick person and 20 letters come back. Like, what the did you juxtapose every address? Like, what is wrong here? What are you doing? Like, it's like, did you put a stamp? Like, you know, just all kinds of madness, right? So, now I do at least a couple rounds of interviews. So, like, what we'll do is, we'll typically have my main administrator do an initial telephone interview with a candidate, and then we'll progress that to an interview with a couple others, with her and one or two other staff members. And then based on that interview and their recommendation, then they would forward them to me for a final interview.
Okay.
So that's kind of the process we're using now that has worked out a lot better.
Okay. Is anybody on site training them?
Say again?
Is anybody on site training them?
Yeah. My main admin does the
does
training as well. So once that person comes on board, they pretty much are at her hip for 90 days or so as they grow and develop into their position.
Gotcha. Switching subjects. So for those of us who don't practice law, right? Every once in a while you hear like a huge name, and when it comes to like law, like an attorney who had like a major case. Back in the day it was Johnny Cochran.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so for you, was there an attorney that you kind of looked up to or aspired to be, whether they were, I don't want to say a celebrity attorney, but had some type of fame, recognition because of a case they had, or even somebody who wasn't well known, but within those who practice law, they know this person was one of the best. Is there somebody you looked up to in the field?
Not so much because of a particular case per se, but I'll circle back to my mentors. I think I've had a cadre of mentors and people that just helped me develop.
Right.
And it wasn't like one case, though, but it was just the way they carried themselves, the way they dressed, the way they talked to the court staff, the way they talked to the judges, the way they talked to opposing counsel. The way they talk to the clients, the way they counsel the mothers. Right. Those are the things that I just, I wanted to emulate. And it's, it's a group. There was Ray Jackson. There was James Belt, who's deceased. There was John Hampton Reed II, who's still down at the courthouse kicking butt. There's just a multitude of people that I think that have helped me shape myself as an attorney and learn how to practice law. Oh, and then I can't forget Heath Harris and Russell Wilson, two of the greats.
That's awesome.
That have helped me tremendously. So,
that's amazing. I know you focus on criminal and personal injury, but you said you did start with just transactions.
Yeah,
transactional law. So a lot of our audience and community are entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
I know you're not in that field per se, but if there's some advice you can give entrepreneurs when it comes to like law, whether it's structuring their business, paperwork, or maybe like 2 to 3 things that you really truly believe every entrepreneur should have or do? What would that be from?
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. I would think anyone, and I know it's hard, not hard to say, but it's hard to listen to as an entrepreneur that's just starting out, because you're probably bootstrapping it.
For sure.
Probably, right? Everybody's situation is different.
Right.
But as soon as you can, I mean, if day one, if possible, get a lawyer.
Okay.
You know, get a lawyer and save yourself some headaches and some problems that are going to come up down the line.
Okay.
That lawyer is going to help get you a LLC or some type of business corporation to protect your personal assets from your business assets.
Okay.
That lawyer is going to help you, advise you to a point on taxes and making sure you're paying properly into the system, so you they don't come back later and say, "Hey, good job, Mr. Entrepreneur. Now give us everything you got," because that really belongs to Uncle Sam. You know,
for sure.
You want to avoid that. So yeah, that would be my suggestion. As soon as possible, get a lawyer. And for any entrepreneur, it's not legal advice, but it's just advice, period. As soon as possible, get help.
Okay.
Get an assistant. Get some type of person, build your team.
Right.
Even if your team is 2 people.
Right.
There are things that eventually you're going to, it just won't be worth your time to do. Right? And as soon as you get to that point, you need to have someone, you already should have an idea of someone, if you can, that you can bring in that you already know. And if not, you need to be thinking of, okay, at a certain point, this is whether it's an amount of revenue or the number of clients coming in, I'm going to hire this first person to come in and help me do this, 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 and this. Because that's the only way you can grow. You can't grow by yourself.
Can't
it's
do
impossible.
everything.
Impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make more money depending on what your practice is or what your situation is.
Right.
But if you're talking about growing or building a practice, you need good, competent people to help you make that dream a reality.
Right. Now, that's great advice. And back to your first one, I think a lot of people get timid or scared when it comes to approaching an attorney for one. Is it more so like they need to have one on retainer, or is it more so you can do like services as you go? So if I start a business today and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go find an attorney, should I have him on retainer, or what would you say was the best advice?
You can do services as you go. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
But the important part to me is to find someone so that if something comes up, you have that person to call on. You start building that relationship on the front end.
Right.
So, hey, let's say, there is an emergency on Saturday and his phone goes off and he gets the message from the answering service. You built that relationship, so he says, okay, that's my guy.
Yeah.
Let me call young blood back and see what's going on. Is he saying it's an emergency and something exploded at his food truck? I don't know.
Right.
But let me see if I can help him out,
Nah, that makes
Versus
sense.
you looking in the phone book after the food truck exploded and you're like, we'll get back to you Tuesday. Type situation.
No, that makes sense, man. Mr. Tyson, definitely appreciate your time. Don't want to, take too much of your time.
Good.
But I also want to ask you this. I feel like I ask a lot of entrepreneurs this and individuals. Be a 2-part question. One is, can you share 3 books currently or in the past that you've read that really helped your trajectory as an individual? It doesn't have to be as an attorney, but as a man. And then is there a favorite quote or, that you live by?
Man, that was some good, deep questions. Trying to think of things that I've reread, because I read quite a bit.
Right.
So 48 Laws of Power, I would say, is one that's I don't want to say in rotation, but I keep it, I keep it, and I may dust it off from time to time, as well as there are some other books in that line that have come from that I've read as well. There is, the Bible.
Okay.
The Bible is a book that has taught me a lot of stuff about life, about philosophy, about the universe, about how to treat people.
For sure.
And that's part of the basis of how I practice.
Right.
Is, that's why I'm so big on customer service, because it's like, put yourself in that situation, and how would you want someone to treat you or your family member?
Right.
So that's kind of something I constantly drill down to my team, I'm trying to think, is there anything I read lately that that jumps out at me. Johnny Cochran had a autobiography, and I don't know the name of it, but I think that stands out to me as well.
Okay.
And that, in particular, there's one part of that stands out, is he said that a good, honest prosecutor can do more to help the criminal justice system than any defense attorney ever can. And what he was saying was basically, you know, a prosecutor has a tremendous amount of power.
Yeah.
I mean, tremendous.
Right.
They can ask for warrants, and they can get people indicted. They can send people to prison on fake evidence. If you're bad, you can be really, really bad.
Right.
Right? And me as a defense attorney, I can do a lot, but I can't dismiss a case.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can go to trial and fight it and beat it, but after you done lost your hair from stressing, you know, versus a good prosecutor could have said, you know what, this is some BS. This man didn't do this, and dismiss it. So that's tremendous. Quotes. Man, that's a great question. I keep a list of quotes, but I can't think of one in particular that just is like, that's my go-to, honestly.
I'll tell you one of mine that I'm thinking. This is a very simple quote, but I apply it to life and business. I want to say you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Oh, definitely. Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really like that quote because you got to keep shooting your shot, no matter if you missed every shot up until this point. No matter like if you make some and you know your shot is off, or whether you know you're not getting any feedback or any responses, but all it takes is one time to change your life. So
you just have to be right once.
Just has to be the right once. Just have to be right once. So so I agree. So that's something I think about when I'm, you know, cold calling or you know trying to gain new business and new clients is keep shooting.
Definitely. Yeah, you gotta hit in that direction, you know.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you ever seen Wolf of Wall Street?
That's the one with
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
It's a wild movie.
Yeah.
It's a wild movie.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah, but there was a point in the movie when he was about to. They were doing an IPO for the shoe line. I can't remember. Steve Madden, and he was doing his speech, and he was like, "Your girlfriend left you. Pick up the phone and keep calling." You know, you're broke. Pick up the phone and keep calling. So it had some motivation in that movie, among other things.
A lot of things.
But yeah, I just take out that clip for motivational purposes.
Yeah, that reminds me of a quote one of my mentors told me once. And he says he was a Vietnam veteran, right? So he volunteered, went over there. I want to say he was a ranger, but he whatever he was assigned to, he was close action combat 24/7. And, you know, he would tell me about the war sometimes and just various things about, you know, war. Right. And I think I asked him once, like, hey, do you ever run out of ammunition and stuff like that? He was like, oh, no, you never run out of ammunition because, you know, if your gun runs out, you just pick up the gun of the dead guy next to you and start shooting that gun, right? And I'm like, okay. Yeah. All right. But with all that being said, this is the quote. And I was like, you know, hey, man, are you scared or what was going on? He's like, I was constantly scared. But the only thing I kept in my mind was keep moving forward. No matter what was going on with us, we just kept pressing forward and shooting until we got out of there. And he's like, if you stay still, you're dead, literally. So just keep moving forward. And that's something I always took to heart.
I love that, and that applies to everything. I'd be rich if I didn't ask, will I have you this, because a lot, you know, music is a large cultural reference that people listen to, people kind of refer back to.
Definitely.
And you know, there's a lot of public cases with artists.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So I'm not asking for any legal advice for artists, but I just want to know what are your thoughts, because you know, artists, I mean, I don't know if they're telling the truth in their music, but you know, a lot of times it's used against them in law. And like, what is your thoughts on that? Do you feel like it should be? Do you feel like it's just art? Like, what can you tell artists? Like, look, if you're still in the streets and trying to do music,
right, it's tight on you.
Yeah,
yeah. Personally, I think it's art. right? I think everyone embellishes. Everyone wants to tell a good story.
Right.
Everyone's not dropping 50 bodies a day and selling a kilo every other day.
Right.
Come on, man. That's just not reality, right?
For sure.
But on the other hand, as someone who does do criminal defense work and who has had Instagram and YouTube videos and whatnot pop up in the evidence, calm down with that if you got, a hot situation still going on, Right. I mean, we've seen several people get caught up like that where they're a little too specific in what they're talking about and, shot Lil Ronnie on 57th Street and put the body under the house. Like, hey, man, don't be mad when they pull his body out in court and play your music. Like,
sure.
man, like you literally, you were doing too much and you literally gave them a roadmap. So then I had to fix that. So it's too much. Doing it for the ground. Just calm down.
Yeah,
calm down. That's my advice.
I definitely had to ask that because I know there's still like the the Young Thug YSL case.
Yeah.
Which I saw on Twitter. I don't really follow the case, but I saw on Twitter that maybe one of his attorneys
got jammed up.
Too.
Yeah, I saw that as well. So,
do you know any details about that?
I don't.
Right.
All I know is that basically she allegedly told a potential target, like to get rid of a phone or something, evidence or something like that, or don't talk or something like that. And so it kind of, and I want to say that person may not have hired her yet on that issue. So I think they were trying to say like she crossed over into tampering and went beyond just advising a client, So I don't know the lady. I don't know much about the case, obviously, but hopefully she beats it.
Gotcha.
I mean, I don't see hardly anybody locked up, but but that's just me.
Yeah, I don't want to see anybody else.
Yeah,
they don't deserve
it. Just saying. You got to really be like a bad person. Like, all right, maybe you should go to jail.
For sure. I'm not gonna lie. I know a few people who should be in jail.
Yeah, a couple of them. Everybody got a little list. Like at least not 5 people.
Like,
oh yeah, you need to be away from society.
Yeah,
I wouldn't control.
I wouldn't trust you with my enemy. That's
right. But most people though, like
most people are.
Y'all
people make mistakes.
Exactly.
Yeah, people make mistakes. Last question to kind of like identify, who you are as a person. Do you have a favorite like law movie or show?
Favorite law movie or show? Wow, that's a great question.
So one I recently watched, the concept was on Showtime. It's called Your Honor. There's 2 seasons.
Yes.
It has a guy from Breaking Bad.
That was good.
Great show.
Yeah.
Super corrupt, but great show. I was mad.
Better Call Saul.
I was mad.
Yeah.
But it was a great show.
Yeah.
Great entertainment.
I think one of my favorite shows is Suits.
Okay.
If you're
that was great.
with that. Unrealistic, but
Definitely,
hey, it is what it is.
Good entertainment.
As far as movies, man, A Few Good Men. I mean,
that's the one with Tom Cruise, right?
Tom Cruise
and Jack
Nicholson. You can't handle the truth. Exactly. Exactly.
Classic.
I mean, it's just that whole story of the guy who's just like, he's a deal maker, plea bargain lawyer, and he kind of gets backed into this trial that they give to him because they know he's not going to dig into it. And his team is like digging into it.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of forces his hand, and man, it all goes down to the wire in court. Yeah, that was just a good movie.
No, that was a great one. I need to rewatch that again.
Yeah. Definitely it's a classic. Definitely a classic.
Definitely a classic, man. Mr. Tyson, any last words for for people? I feel like this was a great conversation.
Definitely.
I feel like you're a great marketer, so the word about you definitely out, and we definitely appreciate you sitting here with us. But any last words for those are viewing who may need your services, or just like an introductory, tell them where they can follow you at, any important things you may have coming up that you want to share. This is just kind of your time to talk to our community directly.
Definitely. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to working with you guys, and I'm really excited about what you guys are doing and the growth that I see with your business as well.
Thank you.
But so Tyson Law Firm, we're main headquarters is in Dallas, Texas, 342 West Montana Avenue, Dallas, Texas. You can reach us at 888-28-TYSON. We're on Instagram, Facebook, all that, thetysonlawfirm.com. And we're here to help in any type of personal injury matter, whether it's a car accident, slip and fall, wrongful death, anything of that nature, we can handle for you. Criminal cases, again, I've tried everything from speeding tickets to capital murder cases, white collar fraud, healthcare fraud, gun smuggling. I've run the gamut. And of course, dope cases. So we never turned out dope cases. But with that being said, we got a great team. We would love to help you, love to help your audience and the people in the community with whatever they need. They can also call on us if there's something else that they need that we don't do. And we will do our best to refer them to a good attorney that I trust and that I would use myself. We don't refer cases to anyone that I wouldn't use myself.
For sure. That's amazing. Definitely appreciate your time.
Yeah.
For y'all in the community who are watching, if you're available, March 19th, join us upstairs, Kitchen and Cocktails, the Tequila Room Privé for the next mixer, powered by the Tyson Law Firm, Maker's Mark, and Cosign. It's going to be an amazing time. If you, too, enjoy models,
I'll be there.
You might want to be in attendance. That's all I'm going to say. If you've been to a Cosign event, you understand. So we look forward to seeing you there March 19th. Come meet Mr. Tyson in person. Come meet the team. Come have a good time with us. First round of cocktails on us, okay? So we'll hope to see y'all there. Until next time, y'all continue to live the Cosign life.